Hey guys, Captain Wing here, and no, I am not dead, believe it or not. I'm still here. So, I'm sorry it's been a while since I've put a video out there, and by which I mean, like a couple of months since it's been a proper video. I have done one or two streams, which I've mentioned on my channel, and I have done a Battle for Neighborville reaction video, so that was something. But this is the first proper video back after my break. Now, unfortunately, this is because of schoolwork. I'm in my second year of A-levels, and it's quite difficult. So a lot of my time goes into that, and by the time I'm finished with that in a day, I just don't have the effort to record a video for you guys. However, I am going to try and record once and upload once a week from now, if I can. If I don't be surprised, and if I'm gone for a while, don't be concerned. There will definitely be videos up over Halloween, and there will definitely be videos up over Christmas, so I'll definitely not be dying. I think I've said definitely too many times now. I'm also counting the number of times that my channel has died for several months. Seems to be quite something. So don't listen to when I go or anything. But anyway, today I thought I'd bring you something a little bit different. I've been seeing a lot of these tier lists out there for Plants vs Zombies, and I decided to do one for myself. So this here is this is the Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville Best Characters list. Which means that the characters that I think are the best, not my characters, not the characters that are my favourite, because otherwise I would rearrange this. I might develop a different tier list. This is purely the ones I think are the most effective as characters. This is subject to change, I mean, it depends, because I may well change some of these as we're talking. I may decide that, you know what, ooh, I don't want him there. Or somebody, you could decide who I'm talking about, and then put them higher up or lower. But anyway, because there's only 20 characters in the game, this is going to be a relatively short list, but I am going to talk about each character a bit and why I put them there. So, first of all, we have the tiers. We have got literal trash, which means characters I don't think should ever even be used, or should even be in the game. I mean, I don't literally mean should be in the game, I just mean that I don't think they are useful at all. And then we've got bad characters, which are not really, saw your last resort. If all else fails, turn to these guys. Then we've got the average ones, where it's sort of about, it's sort of normal. They're okay. You can do things with them, but they're nothing special. Good. These are quite good. You know, they've got a specific, you know where their role is, and they can do their role quite well. And then finally, we have godly tier. Now, the godly tier is for those that are completely overpowered, verging on broken, and that are just absolutely insane. So, we'll talk about those as well. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to work our way up. So, if you do enjoy this change in video, drop a comment down below or like the video. Show me your appreciation, and I will try and do some more tier lists. Hopefully some more for Battle for Neighborville. I might do some Garden Warfare 2 tier lists, because it's still quite recent since I played it, and I'm not going to forget all the characters anytime soon. Well, I might forget some that I don't use, but, you know. Sorry, engineers. So let's get into this. So, in the literal trash section, I thought it was suitable to put the Rose in here and Electric Slide. Now, I haven't really used these characters much, so honestly I can't give much of a judgment, which is one of the reasons they are down here. But also the fact that Electric Slide, well, from what I've gathered, she doesn't really do a lot. I've tried using her a few times. Her attack I don't like, because you have to keep using the fire button. You can't just hold it down, which is something. The fire rate's a bit slow for my liking, and it doesn't seem to do much chain damage. To say that she's the electric character and that her special is that attacks can chain to other enemies, it doesn't really seem to do a lot. Her abilities just really, really annoy anybody she uses them on. Although, I will admit that it's quite good for things like Suburbination or Gnome Bomb to push the enemy away. And the Rose as well, because in my opinion, the only good thing about her is the Go to Fire spell, which I will admit is good, but that's the only thing that she's even worth playing for. Her attack is not worth her time and effort. Her time snare, it seems to have shortened and gotten worse since Garden Warfare 2. And her, arcane lotus thing, or arcane spell, I can't remember its name. lasts forever, doesn't really do a lot, and the enemy can just follow you around and shoot you as soon as you get back out of it again. Whilst you can increase the damage dealt to them, it just doesn't really make a difference for me. It doesn't really have that, and you can't, as far as I'm aware, you can't actually use some of your energy to attack in that mode anymore, which you used to be able to, which made it slightly more worth it, but there we go. So next we have the bad tier. These are the ones that I don't really want, I don't think are very good, and I don't really think are worth using. But, I mean, any character can have its uses, and these, I suppose, can be good in certain situations. So we've got, from the plants, we have the Chomper. Well, it's quite obvious, really, why the Chomper's there. And the Snapdragon. It might surprise some of you that I've put the Snapdragon down there, but I'll get to that in a second. And then we've also got the Scientist and the Foot Soldier. So, when I compare these guys, I'm comparing them in the latest patch, in which some characters have been buffed or nerfed. So, Chomper, besides the fact I never really played as Chompers in Garden Warfare 2. I hate Chompers. They can kill. All they do is players use it. They kill one. They burrow under. They come up. They kill one person, and then they die. That's all there is to it. And including a ranged attack in this game, is helpful, but it doesn't do much damage. It's slow, and it's still not really worth it. I don't really like the abilities haven't really changed. The Chomper hasn't really changed besides getting a ranged attack. I know he doesn't have a goop anymore. I'm honestly trying to think what his ability is that replaces the goop. Oh, it's like a cannon, isn't it? It's a Chomp cannon. I can't remember anyway. But its purpose is still the same. It's you go in, you kill an enemy at close range, and then you die. Whether or not you burrow. I mean, if you don't burrow, you just get shot to pieces before you can get there. If you do burrow, you come up, everyone knows it, and then they kill you straight away. Which is why I wouldn't use the Chomper. And the Snapdragon, again, is kind of the same. You have to get in quite close. And while this guy is a lot better than the Chomper, I don't know, his damage seems a bit lacking, even with the fire effect. The only reason I sort of got him in the bad tier is because of the fact that his abilities are okay. And for the Chomper, I put him in there because, he's quite good at killing AIs. He is really, really good at killing just like browncoats and things, which is a good thing to have for things like the free roam regions or the ops mode. Snapdragon kind of does the same thing, but he actually has some abilities that are worth using. So if it was, you could bump him up to average. I could bump him up to average because it's sort of a thing. I wasn't really sure. He's sort of right in between the two. Well, then moving over to the zombies, we've got the Scientist here, because and this is going to be, a lot of people are not going to agree with this, but I don't like his primary weapon. I don't like it because it spreads out a lot now. It's really inaccurate. Even if you scope in, it's still so inaccurate at range. And while I know you're supposed to use this guy up close, at least in Garden Warfare 2 you could use them at a range. Whereas now, no, you just can't. It just doesn't do any damage. His heal hose, I don't think is as accurate as the heal beam. And while it can heal multiple enemies, I don't think it's as useful. However, of course, as a healer, I couldn't put him in the trash because he does... If you get up close, he can do some damage, and he does heal allies, so that's something. And the Foot Soldier. Now, I know this guy's been buffed, but I've played as him, and he still doesn't live up to the Garden Warfare Foot Soldier. He's just... I don't find him a very enjoyable character. You can get kills, it's like the Chomper. You can kill AIs pretty well. But killing players, no, it just doesn't work. Sorry. Unless you're killing pea shooters and sunflowers when they're rooted, in which case the ZPG is as accurate as ever. So moving up to the average tier. I'm aware I'm going on with a whole story about why I put each character here. Maybe I'll continue doing that, I don't know. Let me know in the comments whether you want me to go on about each character or not. But I just thought that this time, I don't know if I have to necessarily always do, like if I do a Garden Warfare 2 one, I'd be here all night talking about the different characters. Because there's so many, there's hundreds. In this, there's 20, so I thought I'd mention them a bit, so that this video is not like 5 minutes long. So in the average tier, these are the guys that, they're alright, they do their job. And I don't mind playing as them. I mean, I say that, but I don't mind playing as the Snapdragon, and he's in the bad tier. But again, this is on who I think are the best in terms of performance, not my favourites, which I will do in another episode, I think, in another video. So we've got these corn, the Colonel Corn. Is he actually called the Colonel Corn anymore? I think he's just called Corn now. We've got Sunflower, and we've got Cactus, and then we've got Deadbeard, Space Cadet, and 80s Action Hero. So for the plants. Now, Colonel Corn I'll come back to. Sunflower, personally, the thing that holds her back from being in the good tier, her firepower is just not good. It's just not good at all. It's so difficult to get a kill. Either the damage needs buffing or the rate of fire needs buffing, because it's so hard to kill enemies with the Sunflower. Unless you go into your solar beam and you just beam them to death, in which case you're risking things like Imp Punts, ZPG, Missile Madness, things like that. Super Ultra Ball. Pretty much every character has some sort of precision power attack that could take you out. But she's in average because she's got a good sun drop ability where she can heal, she can throw out the sun drops and heal everyone around her, including herself, which is good. In my opinion, better than the heal flower. And her healing beam it's not changed really since Garden Warfare 2, aside from being able to overheal like the scientist can. So that's decent. I like that. That's still accurate and that's fine. It's just the firepower. Come on, EA, please buff it. Cactus. Now, the Cactus and Deadbeard, I think, are so much better than Garden Warfare 2. In Garden Warfare 2, they were called snipers, and I admit that they were snipers, I can agree with that. But they didn't do a lot of damage, and you had to get a lot of hits off in that time before the enemy noticed you and killed you, or moved. Now, they are proper snipers. You can scope right in and pretty much kill any enemy within 2 shots with either of these characters, if you do it right. And I think they've really, really shined as snipers now. But once again, if the enemy gets up close, you're dead. If they notice you, you're kind of dead, because if you try to move, you have to de-scope to move properly, which then takes you time to scope in again. But other than that, they are fairly good. I mean, if they were a bit better in terms of like that respect, they'd be in the good section, but then they wouldn't really be snipers. So I think they're quite happy here where they are. Now, 80s Action Hero, I was playing as him earlier. I've been playing Battle for Neighborville most days, to be fair, so I've had some time to think. And 80s Action Hero, I actually really liked him to start with, but now as played as the other characters, I've realised that he's not actually that good. He can't missile, and he's got Missile Madness, and those are both brilliant abilities. In fact, the Dynamite Dodge is also fairly good. It's the fact that he's sort of, I sort of think of him as a mid-range attacker. Not as long range, I mean, suppose long range as well. Not long range like the Captain Deadbeard, because that's what his role is. More sort of a character that can go to any range if they want to. However, if you go in close, you're going to be lucky to charge up your Bolt Blaster and fire it off with decent damage, because you have to charge it right up to do decent damage. If you just fire it straight off the bat, you're only doing 2 to 3 damage, and while it's a very good spread, 2 damage isn't going to kill a Sunflower. It's not going to kill an Acorn, never mind anything else. Never mind those Citrons and those Snapdragons out there. His abilities are good. He's a mid to long range, medium range. His bolt blaster is good. I don't think it's called a bolt, but it's called a bow blaster. That's decent then. It's just the fact that it takes him a while to charge up, and while there are perks that improve that, in his base form, he's not really one that I would consider a good character. Space Cadet, well, I mean, I think most of us can agree that in general, Oak is better than Space Station, and I think that's true as well. Unless the Space Station, I mean, if they're on their own, that is. If they have allies if they have Acorns and Space Cadets in, then that's a different story. But unless the Space Station uses the beam, that Oak is going to come out on top every time, because the Space Station's main attack is not really much different. It's not much different to the Space Cadets. The projectile, as far as I'm aware, is the same. It's a bit more drawn out, and I don't think it homes in for the Space Station. And of course, it's a bit stronger. But, I mean, it's good because of the fact that of its abilities to do the beam, which just kills anything. You can obliterate bosses with that. But then the Space Cadet itself, I like. I like the Space Cadet itself. If this was just Space Cadet, it'd be in the good tier. But it's a combination of the two, Space Cadet and Station. Now, the Space Cadet, I really like her ability to sort of fire off a supercharged bolt that I think it does something like 100 damage. So that can kill a majority of characters. Well, it can kill some characters, and it can severely wound a lot of others, which is quite good, and it's quite accurate. The ground pound ability I really like, as long as you can get in close. Well, it's sometimes a bit tricky, but that's a good ability as well. So that's good. Now Corn. Played as him today and yesterday. And I've not really had a chance to play. I've not really played as him much since the patch last week. But by God, his rate of fire is insane. You can fire off a full magazine in about in just a matter of seconds, and then reload pretty much straight away. So he essentially has an unlimited fire rate with no cooldown, with no overheat. And while his attack is not very good, his rate of fire makes up for that so much. Now, I did this list the other day, and I just haven't had a chance to record a video yet. But if I were doing this now, Corn goes up to good tier. I'm not going to move him now because this is just a screenshot. I haven't got the actual list open. But Corn is now a good character. I really, really like his horse hop. It gives you a lot more mobility now. And his shock shot, I think, is better than it used to be. Because you fire off sort of 2 individual shots, and it's a lot more accurate if you fire them both off because they both fire centre. As opposed to going 1-5-2 when you fired them both off at once, and they both went to the side of the target. Now, I'm not going to keep droning on because this is now 15 minutes in. But we're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. Now, the good tier. So we've got, for obvious reasons, Acorn and Oak. Now, Acorn, admittedly, can't really kill a lot. He's small, and he can dodge, though. He can dodge. He's really good at dodging, and his Sap Trap is good, and he's actually got a dodging ability, which is good. His attack, though, his main attack is no good when he's an Acorn. When he's Oak, however, suddenly you're this indestructible, equivalent to the Giga Torchwood from Garden Warfare 2, and that was a boss. Your main attack is insanely powerful. It's got a decent amount of ammo. You get a lot of health. If an Acorn jumps in, you've got healing as well then, so you can stay alive indefinitely. Unlike the space station, who has to rely on the shields to stay alive. His super Sap Trap, I think, is broken for damage. You can pretty much insta-kill anything that you blow it up on. But it's good, nonetheless. And his roll for damage is pretty good. It's not really a great one, in my opinion, but it's fairly good and it recharges quickly. So he's there. Citron, I've really enjoyed playing as recently. I think the fact that he has now his Peel Shield is like a secondary, where you can activate it at any time and keep it out indefinitely, is a lot better than Garden Warfare 2, where it was an ability. And I think his main weapon is now a lot more accurate. And whilst it's one of the weakest weapons in the game, which is supposed to be, by the way, EA deliberately did this because they wanted a character that could push up against the objectives and protect teammates. He's a tank, essentially. But they said that they wanted to balance that out by giving him a fairly weak attack, which they have. But I don't mind that because I think he makes up for that with his Peel Shield, which is nigh indestructible. If a Citron gets its Peel Shield out, I mean, the amount of power you have to put into breaking that thing is flipping insane. Especially when you compare it against the Super Brain's personal shield, which takes a measly couple of hits to break and isn't really worth your time. I mean, Citron is just amazing with that. You can shield allies for so long. If Citron tries to revive a plant, you can pretty much guarantee he's getting that revived if his Peel Shield is out. Unless you've got something like Super Brains in his face or like an engineer stunning him, he's getting that plant revived and he's not dying for it. Z-Mech, the Imp, I don't actually know I don't think he's personally as good, to be honest. I think his Gravity Grenade, which was his main strength, is a lot weaker now. And while Imp Kata is worth using a bit more, it still doesn't have that firepower it really should do, in my opinion. It's more of a suicide, really, which I think is supposed to be sort of a take on a kamikaze. It's like an Imp Kata, I don't know, maybe. But the Z-Mech is flipping insane. I mean, you can't kill Imp when he's inside the Z-Mech anymore. He ejects out of it if you blow up the Z-Mech, which is great. Again, if the Z-Mech was the only thing we were comparing, it'd be in God tier. But we're not just comparing that, we're comparing the Imp as well. So that just lowers it that little bit to good. Because, of course, the Imp does still only have 75 health and can die quite easily. Like the Acorn, except he has more strength than the Acorn. Z-Mech can easily stand up to the Oak. He can destroy an Oak with his Missile Madness. His Pound can just bang those plants into outer space. And his main attack weapon is still as deadly as ever. Love the Z-Mech. Now, Engineer, he's broken. Without a doubt, the Engineer is broken. His Bullhorn Swarm stunning ability is so broken. You get hit by that and you are stunned for a good 10 seconds. That's not an exaggeration, guys. Honestly, you get hit by one of those and you're dead. That Engineer can reload his weapon, plonk down a turret, get a speed trap down, and go get himself some lunch, and he'll be back before you're thawed out. And his turret is very good. You stand next to the turret, any character stands next to the turret, boom, instant power, instant god mode. The Engineer is a formidable character, and his bolt and his weapon, his concrete launcher is still just as good as ever, except now it's a grenade launcher, which makes it even more powerful. Now, finally, the All-Star. He's been buffed like crazy in this last patch. His damage has gone mega up from, I think it's either 4 or it's 5. I think it was 4 damage to 7. At long range, you can deal 7 damage at a shot with that, which is insane. His tackle dummy shield is amazing. So much more useful than in Garden Warfare 2, because the tackle dummies weren't really that useful, in my opinion. You could really hide behind them very much, and the plants could destroy them pretty quickly. And that's not a thing anymore. You put that shield down, that's a proper dome, and it can be destroyed. I mean, it can be destroyed somewhat easily, but that protects your teammates, good for reviving, and the best part is you can shoot through it, and your opponent and your plant enemies cannot. So you can shoot them while I have to destroy the shield to get to you, giving you time to kill them. Sprint tackle knocks them back quite a lot, which I think is quite good. It sort of stuns them, which I think is nice. And the imp ability, the imp punt, is still just as powerful as it ever was. He's just not in the godly tier because he's not crazy broken. I think he's at that point now where he's good and where people use him, which is good. And finally, we've been through literal trash, we've been through bad, we've been through average, we've been through good. We've told many stories. It's now time to face the godly tier. These characters are insanely powerful, should probably be nerfed, but are an absolute great enjoyment to play. And we're going to go through them now. Pea Shooter. Ah, the classic plant. The original plant, Plants vs Zombies, now has aimbot. It's impossible to miss. I say that, it's possible to miss at a close range, but if you're firing at longer ranges, it's pretty much impossible to miss with the aimbot. And if you get the homing upgrade for it, which I think you can get after you promote him once, you're just unstoppable. It's so effective now. I mean, splash damage is still just as prominent as ever, but the main projectile does so much damage. And if he goes into his P-Gatling, you're done. You can camp across the map, and you can reliably kill an imp, of all things. And I'm going by the fact that imps are tiny. You can kill a space cadet. These two are tiny. You could easily do that with your Gatling, but then again, at the same time, you could take out a Z-Mech or a space station quite easily with your P-Gatling. And if you get the reload Gatling, you're going to be staying there for quite some time. So that's why he is a god. Super Brains we'll talk about last for a reason. Nightcap, well, she got thrown down a bit in the latest patch, but mainly affecting her. Well, it mainly affected her special ability, Fung Fu. You know, it's now a lot weaker, but however, it can still kill the lands. You still don't have much difficulty killing them. You rush in there with Shadow Sneak, and then you bang out the Fung Fu and kill everything around you. Whilst her primary weapon, whilst it's been made a bit less effective at long ranges, in my opinion, is still as good as ever. It's really powerful. You could easily kill them at long range, and if someone sees you and starts shooting, boop, Shadow Sneak, run off, get into a new spot, repeat, and kill them. Absolute beast of a character, and I really enjoy playing as Nightcap. It's just that there's now a competition in my mind as to whether the Chomper is more annoying or whether Nightcap's more annoying. And bear in mind, guys, that the Chomper has been a thorn in our sides since the original Garden Warfare, when it was still insane. And finally, Super Brains, the most broken character in this game. He can charge up a ball, a ranged ball attack with his as a secondary now. That does 80 damage. Goodbye Acorn, goodbye Nightcap. You may as well say goodbye Sunflower, Cactus, and anyone else that's only got 100 health. Rose. You may as well all say goodbye. Snapdragon, I suppose. Snapdragon, Citron, and Chomper, like the ones that stand a chance because they have high health. And Pea Shooter, I suppose, as well. Hey, Oak is fine too, but it deals so much damage. You can charge it up quickly, and you can fire it off, and you can charge it up and fire it again. And 2 shots will kill anything that's not an Oak, a Citron, or a Snapdragon, provided that they were all at full health from the start. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And the Snapdragon will pretty much die. If he's taking any damage, he's going down. And if you get the upgrade that you get, I think, when you promote him once, it charges up even faster. So just destruction assured. His fists, I think they're about the same as they used to be, except for the fact that his punch combo is not broken anymore, meaning that it works now. Like, it didn't always work in Garden Warfare 2, but it works this time. Super Ultra Ball is as good as ever. I like his slam ability because that's a way of gaining ground. You can get over a Citron's shield. You can target Acorns directly that are in Oaks. And finally, the Whirlwind, the Turbo Twister. It's now really powerful. There's an upgrade that lets you drain health from enemies when you use it. And there's an upgrade that I think lets you make it more... It makes it like... I don't know, there's another one. I can't remember what it does, actually. But there's another upgrade for the Whirlwind ability, the Turbo Twister, that also makes it even better. And it's really damaging now. It hurts a lot. And it lasts quite a while, surprisingly. But it's quite painful. And, you know, all his arsenal put together makes him an absolute god. Without a doubt, he is the most overpowered character in this game. But anyway, guys, there you have it. Wow. That took 26 minutes. That's insane. Sorry about the long video if you guys didn't want that, but there you have it. This is my tier list for what I think is the best characters in Battle for Neighborville. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.